Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show.
The first one is going to show you how to upload a podcast episode to Spotify. And the second one is going to show you how to use matchmaker.fm. So first and foremost, if you aren't signed up on Spotify, this is counterintuitive, but go to the website Anchor, ANCHOR.fm, and sign up for a Spotify podcast account. And then forevermore, it will redirect you to podcasters.spotify.com. But for some reason, I haven't figured out how to sign up using the Spotify site. Anchor is their old brand. I think Spotify bought them. Anyways, I use Anchor. And what Anchor does is it gives your podcast a broader reach. And I'm going to show you this settings here. This is not what we're going to cover today, but just so you can see here, once you're available on Spotify and you've got your own show page, going forward, it's Anchor FM is an RSS feed, which allows you to send it out to all of these other platforms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 other platforms other than Spotify, and you can add more platforms. The whole point of using Spotify, and I can't stress this enough, all of my podcasts start on YouTube, and then I add them to Spotify so that I get further reach. Now, this is a little known fact, but YouTube is actually the world's largest podcasting platform. It's the modern incarnation of Google Podcasts, and it encourages the power of YouTube Shorts and YouTube videos. So YouTube is the world's second largest search engine, followed by Google, and it is the world's largest podcast engine. So you want to get this right. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you, we'll also talk about listen notes. And basically, the whole point of this is not to make you podcast famous, but the whole point is we want your podcast to have a broad enough reach. And by the way, we promote podcasts. I'm a big fan of wherever your clients are. So if your people are on LinkedIn, promote your podcast on LinkedIn. If they're on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, wherever it is, you also promote the podcast. That's not the coverage that we're going to do here. This is stuff that helps the world find your podcast. So I'm going to show you first and foremost how to upload a podcast episode to Spotify. Now, I won't show you how to set up a Spotify account because it's really, really easy. The biggest thing is you need to have a square image for your podcast, and I'll show you this. So the main thing, this is the home screen, and this is relatively new. I think I set this up New Year's Eve. Yes, I need a life. But here's my glamorous artwork. And I've got 207 episodes that I've set up. I haven't actively started promoting it, but I already have 2 followers, so yay. What I do like about Spotify is they have a whole bunch of training on how you can improve your podcast. So there's articles, there's videos, there's courses. I highly recommend over time we check these out. But basically, once you have your podcast set up, then there's analytics. By the way, this is a little bit of a tip. I don't broadly promote. Let me back up. I promote every episode once. I put it on my LinkedIn page, and I say, hey to the world, this podcast episode is live. Thank you. And then what I do is I look and see how many plays said podcast gets. Because if the person I interview doesn't at least click on it, that tells me they're not really in it to support me. They're not really willing to do the work to support themselves. Why would I put a lot of effort into it? But for those who do promote, like you'll see this one, at least I know that Patricia, Kelly, and Scott all watched their own. So that tells me something. But basically, once I see which episodes are getting traction, and it's great because you can look in and you can see, um, how many plays, how many published, all that sort of thing. And here's the one you can see. So Brian Johnson has had the most. Again, this is all brand new since mid-January. So Robin Scobie is number 2. Go Robin. Matt Champagne and Steve are tied at 4. So the good news is most of these have 1. Now, these ones have not been broadly published yet. These are all in the 2 publish range. So I'm not too disappointed that they're all zeros for now. But going forward, I expect this number to jump very soon. So this was all set up. So let's jump in. I'm going to show you. So you can see the analytics. You can check by episode. You can check by your audience. And not surprising, there's a lot of randomness overseas. I don't care too much about overseas views because I know they're not my audience. I know they're not going to buy. But it is interesting that roughly half view it on a web browser and half are using Audible. So Audible is Amazon's new play into the digital space. I think you're going to see Audible as a significant user interface going forward. And with Spotify, you can actually monetize it. I haven't turned on the subscriptions yet because I'm not ready for that level. I don't have enough interaction. But the great thing is you can also create polls and you can ask people questions. So I'm going to show you how to upload an episode. And you will recall I said that everything lives on YouTube first. So you're going to actually see me uploading something that is already on YouTube. Now, this particular episode, if we look at my tracker, this is Christopher Richards. It's going live on March 13th. So what I do is I start with the name. So I'm not real original. You may want to get better. Use your version of show notes. Don't do what I do. Just this is me giving you some advice. Now, I have an ad for my cash flow club that I always insert. And for whatever reason, I find it's always easier to go in. And by the way, this is how you edit a past episode. You click on the name, and this shows you the analytics for that episode. You hit details, and I always just put the name. You could get fancy. You could put episode numbers. I don't think anybody actually cares about episode numbers other than to track it. But basically, as you'll see, I have the bio for the person, and then I have the contact details. But what I'm looking for here is the ad for Cash Flow Club. So I'm going to copy, paste it. Now I'm going to go to the YouTube video, and I'm going to copy Chris's details. And so what I do is I put the guest's details first, and then I put my advertisement, and it's my podcast, so why wouldn't I advertise my business? So for my friends and colleagues and clients, I highly encourage you. You'll make more money advertising your own business than you will someone else's. Now, I like to make the links live. So all I do is I highlight it, copy paste, click OK. So as you can see, this is just copying and pasting very, very, very basic show notes. My goal going forward is I'm going to use more detailed show notes. That's an advanced strategy. We won't cover it today. But basically, you can see I've uploaded the video. I've got the person. Now, typically, you're going to want to schedule these. So let's do, I think that was on the 13th. Now, I'm not really truly picky. I usually go live now, so it's up to you. I rarely have explicit content, so you answer that accurately. And by the way, if I have somebody who swears a lot, I'm going to label it as explicit, just erring on the side of caution. And I always say yes to promotional content because I'm going to invite people to join my other things, and I never want to be offside because I forgot to check that. Now here you put season and episode number. Again, this is just for tracking purposes. It allows me to pair things up. And then I do something strange. I use my rectangular image and I care about showcasing the guest, and I hit save. Now, some people say this should be more compelling. I'm not really too into the artwork piece, but basically you can see that is literally it for uploading. Now we hit next. Now, if you want to add some Q&A, you can. I leave the default. Really, truly, as I get bigger and as I use this more, I'm going to add the polling feature, but for now, we're just going to go as is. If we were monetizing, which we're not today, we would decide, is this for everyone or paid subscribers? Given that I don't have this monetized yet, this is for everyone. And then this is a last final preview. You can see all the details, and then you hit publish. And this is important. I take the link and I put it in my tracker. I have a Spotify URL. So then when I promote this episode on LinkedIn, for example, I give people the option of going to the YouTube link or going to the Spotify link. So I'm just going to pause here. This is what a Spotify episode looks like. It's really, really simple. And then, oh, what happened? Okay. So it's really simple. You can see now, and the most recent one is always at the top. At a height, you can, at a high level, you can see the order they were uploaded, how many plays they've had, etc. And that is the bulk of Spotify. So the key is wherever you promote the podcast, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, have a link to your Spotify. And I'll just show you what that looks like when somebody clicks on said link. And the specific link takes them to the specific episode. And then it shows other episodes as well. So this is a really good foundation. And as I said, once we get a little bit more traction, more views and things like that, then we'll start to expand the show notes. Going forward, my number one thing is I want to optimize the show notes as much as possible so that there's a little bit of search engine optimization, but also it's more useful to people watching. They can sort of scroll down. So I'm going to do a separate course on show notes, but for now, this is how you get an episode live up on Spotify. All right. Now we're going to transition into Matchmaker. And if you don't have an account, it's really easy. You go to matchmaker.fm, and Matchmaker is a really advanced tool. And basically what it does is it helps podcasters find guests, and it helps guests find podcasts. So literally it's Matchmaker. And so what it does is you have two profiles. I'll show you this. So you have your guest profile and you have your show profile. Now, the reason I use this is if I'm a podcaster, I want to get exposure by being on other people's podcasts. And if I am a podcaster, I, of course, want great guests for my show. Now, full disclosure, I get my worst guests and my best guests from this site. You get some no-shows, you get some people who don't communicate well. It's just the nature of a marketplace. You've got the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I will stress that my absolute best interviews came from this and my absolute worst. So I'm willing to accept the worst in order to get the best. So this is a free platform. And the limitation of free is that you only get to initiate 10 conversations a month. So what I recommend is the first of the month, you initiate 5 conversations to get your podcaster booked on other people's podcasts. And you initiate 5 conversations to get guests booked on your podcast. The reason I say 5 of each is it gives you a nice balance. And basically, I just schedule it for the first day of the month, the first business day. And then what I do, again, this is the free plan. The reason I use the free plan is I've gotten good and bad. I'm not willing to pay for bad. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to use your search criteria based on your podcast, and you're going to find podcasts to put your podcaster on, and you're going to find guests to put on your podcast. Now, this is funny, but Josh Thomas, I had him on my podcast, absolutely one of my favorite interviews. I met him through this platform. So the platform does work. So let's go with this. I think I saw somewhere I have 9 conversations. Um, I'm focusing right now on getting guests on my show. So I'm going to start with my, hey, would you like to be a guest on the show? And then I'm going to jump into inviting. So I'm going to show you both sides of that. The other thing I would say is your guest profile. Take a little time. You're going to feature who your podcaster is. So this is mine, is really, really basic. I don't even know if I set it up. So you should have a video, a headline, a little about interests. So as I said, I haven't really focused on getting myself on podcasts, but I'll show you what this looks like. So you do have to update your profile. And then the other area is your show profile. And this is great because you can have multiple profiles. So if you have multiple podcasts, you can have that here. And basically just basic setup. You need an image. Most of you, your primary is going to be RSS. The other option is radio. So unless you're on radio, I'm technically on radio, so I'll put it there. And this is what my show is about. These are the conversations. These are the links where my show is. So you just want to make sure this is all set up and hit save changes. Now, again, I'm not here to teach you how to set this up. The questions are really self-evident. You just want to have a really good headline, a good description. What categories do you cover? What websites can people go to find you? And by the way, these are all copy and paste right out of Spotify. So Spotify makes your life easier. And here's my RSS feed. And now somewhere up here is my radio link. Okay. So that's my setup. And by the way, you can do this yourself. If you're stuck, we'll do a separate training, but that's not the point of today. So I'm going to teach you how to find guests. So I usually use categories. I don't really care about location. I definitely care about language. So what you want to do is pick your category. So for example, my podcast is about wellness predominantly. And let's see what we have. kind of feel like there is a category. Let's find it. Oh, health and fitness. Okay. And location, I prefer North American. City is optional. Language, I'm useless in any other language other than English. So why would I try other than that? And then format, I'm looking for remote. So you can see I've got some cool filters. And I'm going to be honest, I look for people with nice smiles because I think the people who smile in their headshots are going to be more interesting. There's a lot of bright, smiley faces. So let's start at the top. And basically, this person is a life coach, self-improvement, clutter whisperer. Okay, so you click on the picture and let's just look at her profile. She's been on, she's got her, sorry, Instagram. She's got a website on YouTube. Um, so she's got a lot of interesting things. You can watch some of her videos, but really, truly, I think she'd be a great guest. So I star. By the way, I would copy and paste, so I would have templates, but I'm showing you this, so I don't have my templates at hand. And I've set up my website. Oops. So I've set up my website so they can come straight to here. And this is the free option is top. Okay. Okay. So what I did here was I said something personal about their profile. I said what our audience is, and then I showed them how to book. Made it really simple. So I'm going to hit send. Now, just so I can find her later, I'm going to add her to list of favorites. Now I'm going to go back. And as I said, I have 9 left this month. So let's do, I'm going to just reach out to 9 people as guests. I'll worry about being a guest next month. Um, okay. Okay, so we'll go to that. Send message. Hi, Christopher. Okay, so personalized and favorite that one. Okay, now we have a wellness podcast. Let's not play safe. These two, why not? Let's add them to the show. I, yeah, and Dr. Sorry, Dr. Who? Dr. Brown. on. Now, pick guests that you think your host would be comfortable with. I have a lot of strange conversations, so um, I'll I'll talk to pretty much anyone that I think is interesting. But again, stick within your realm. So we've got those three we've picked: self-improvement, mental health, parenting. Oh, I think this would be fabulous. I oops, crap. Focus on. Okay. So, and don't worry about going over. It will tell you when you've gone over. Uh, okay, so Dana is okay. Hi, Dana. Okay, your message has been sent. Oops, it's Marker's favorite. Okay, so by my count, I think we just did four. One, two, three, four, five. Sorry. So I have four more to go. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Okay. So I think they'd be great guests. I'm not sure which is which, but we'll just do that. Okay, now I've looked at him. He talks about the music scene. I don't particularly care about music. Um, Yogi and psychic healer, why not? And again, my podcast is wellness, so I owe it to my audience to be as diverse as possible. And and okay, so it's Yvonne. Now, let's look for somebody who looks really serious. Alternative health. Okay, ready him. Okay, recovery is something I'm very passionate about. I think it needs to be shared. Leader in recovery. I think this guy would be fabulous and fantastic. Focus on. Okay. So I feel like we're getting close to that limit. Let's just check. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I have 2 more. And for my podcast, I like to make sure I have diversity. So I try to balance male, female. I try to balance as much as I can. So let's see. Okay. A football historian. Okay. Let's go back up. We'll get down to all these people later on. Um, this looks like a family of bodybuilders. Okay, normalizing all things embarrassing in life. No idea what this woman talks to. I want to talk to her. And it is. If they make me laugh, perfect. Okay, I think Madison would be a great guest. All right, let's just go through. You can start 0 conversations. There we go. So I've used up. So here, let me just show you where I got to. So I clicked on the chat. See this? I can also check my favorites. So I can see the guests. Okay, so I used up my 10. I was waiting for this training video, so here we go. But you can see this just like any other inbox. You can click on it and you can see the message. You can do a voice message. You can send a booking invitation. Um, this is a great place to go. The key is start your conversations at the beginning of the month, and then you got all month to follow up to make sure they want to be a guest and things like that. They'll ask you questions. Again, I like to have a frequently asked questions document, and I just copy and paste the right answers in there. But this is basically how you use Matchmaker FM to get guests. And I'll do a separate training on how to become a guest, but it's almost identical. You just need to make sure you are reaching out to the shows that you want to be on. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is listen notes. And this is an advanced strategy. So if you're brand new to podcasting, don't worry about it. But if you are a podcaster, go to listennotes.com and click for podcasters, and you want to submit your podcast. Now, this is important. It will ask you for your RSS or Apple link, and it'll ask for your email address. And then basically, I'll walk you through this. I'm going to stop recording for a second. I'm going to show you with an actual client account, and I don't want to violate their privacy. Okay, wait. No, 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 no. All right. Sorry, this will take me a second. Let me just pause the recording. I had to dig a little. So go to podcasters.spotify.com. And here it says, where is your podcast? We're on Spotify for podcasters. And we're going to continue. And we're podcaster Pete Kane. Let's continue. Okay. So this is my friend Pete. Thank you, Pete, for letting us use this. So we were on listen notes, and let's just find this. So anybody who wants to be on a podcast, if you're not on Listen Notes, they're very reluctant to be on your podcast. So we are going to do this. And we have set up a Gmail account just for all of our admin. It's not in our database. Okay, so this will take some time. This is normal, but basically what they'll do is they'll send an email saying, are you sure? And then going forward, your podcast is available here. So let's look for Global Wellness HQ. This is my podcast. I'm not a robot. Select traffic lights. I would say that's it. Ironically, the CAPTCHA usually confuses Jeff, not just the robots. But there you can see there's my podcast. And basically it says there's 205 episodes. Here's how long it's been on the air. There's a little bit about it. So let's save it. Okay. Just now if we look at the inbox, hey, Spotify. Oh, look at this. We have one fan. Okay, so this is an example. We only have one episode. Two people have responded. Publish, publish. Okay. So we published them and we can, no, we can't respond. That's on. Okay. Oh, all right. So what I'm looking for is, oh, look at that. Listen notes. Okay, so I'm not going to do this, but basically you want to create a profile. Okay, so you can add photos, all that sort of thing. And just for clarity, this is, let's see. Okay, so this is accepting Pete's. This is all. Let's archive all that because we don't need it. We don't need junk mail. So Pete's been accepted on iHeartRadio, so that's exceptional. Okay. Weeks. Okay. So listen notes, I can't do much until they approve. I just wanted you to understand, listen notes is a search engine. We'll be checking this occasionally. You don't need to check it often. But it's a good place. If your podcast isn't listed here, then to a lot of people, it doesn't exist. So that's my big thing. So those are my three advanced tools, just to recap. I walked you through Spotify, Matchmaker FM, and listen notes. I hope this was useful for you. I am wide open to questions, comments, thoughts, and I wish you all the best of podcasting. So this is a advanced training for podcasters. If you want to grow your audience, we'll do future trainings on show notes and things like that. But this is the basic setup. If you're looking to get a podcast out there and you want to be taken seriously, these are 3 platforms I highly recommend. It just spreads the word a little bit better, makes you a little more easily recognizable. So thank you, and I hope this was very useful. I'd love your feedback.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our show. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to either click the link below or scan the QR code to register and listen to other episodes of our podcast. Or if you think your business or you would be a great guest to be on our show, we're always looking for experts in one of the 9 elements of holistic wellness. We'd love to have you. You can either click the link below or you can scan the QR code and complete our speaker intake form. Thank you, and to your wellness.